But let's ask a question. After you marched and say you don't want Zimbabweans, you don't want Nigerians, you don't want Ghanaians, you close shops, you march. Why are you not coming back to tell us the following day that after that march, we expelled 10 Zimbabweans, and out of those 10 Zimbabweans, we're able to give 10 South Africans jobs? There is no such a report. Why? Because now Kabakuba ma Zimbabwe, hauna misebetsi.
With all that has been going on with regards to March and March, 3 names come to mind. Leon Schreiber, of course, Minister of Home Affairs. Gayton McKenzie, who is now the Minister of Sport, Art and Culture. And he rose into Parliament because of his slogan, Abahambe. And of course, none other, the one and only, Cyril Ramaphosa. Those are 3 key names to me that I wanted to hear from. Instead, why these specific 3? Well, Gayton McKenzie is the most outspoken, I'm going to say, after Julius Malema, and specifically because of his immigration stance during his election period. Okay? Now, when it comes to Cyril Ramaphosa, he's completely different to Gayton McKenzie. He's more on the mellow side, very chilled. He's got an institutional tone. He's barely says anything. Okay, you really got to nudge the man. But on Sunday, what actually shocked me, in the midst of all this unrest, we've got Nigerians, people in Ghana, people everywhere saying something about the March and March. Everybody has something to say, but not quite anything from leadership. And then you hear the president, Cyril Ramaphosa. Not only is he in Zimbabwe, but it is a private trip, and this is just a few days after the former president of Zimbabwe's son, Bellarmine Mugabe, had just been, I would say, deported. But at this stage, we can all confirm that, in my opinion at least, allegedly, I think it was just some presidential favors, closed door things. But for the aesthetics, they had to make it seem like it was a court case. He was in prison. He paid a fine. But to me, it feels like presidential negotiations. For all we know, I mean, in the movies, they negotiate. I'm going to give you this prisoner, you give me that prisoner. We don't know if that happened. Not likely are they even going to disclose it. As we speak, of course, Bellarmine has returned to Zimbabwe. Is he ever going to come back to South Africa? I most definitely think so. But I'm digressing. The point I am getting at, a few days after that, the president is inside Zimbabwe. It is not announced in advance. He is there, and it's a private meeting with the president of Zimbabwe and 2 businessmen. That for me was like, whoa, red flags overload. Sir, people on the ground are marching, and one of their biggest things is, of course, illegal Zimbabwean immigrants. It's giving, I don't care. But, you know what? In hindsight, we could say maybe the president was going to go speak to the president of Zimbabwe one-on-one and have conversations to say, encourage your people to come back home. No. They're touring farms, helicopter rides here and there. I don't want to go into all the breakdown. But yesterday, I managed to catch Mighty Jamie's show as it was premiering, and I got to watch his guest, and this is what they had to say. And I said, oh, now it all makes sense. No wonder. Everything makes sense. Listen to this. I'll be back with the rest of my commentary.
Are there any South African companies that are involved in mining in Zimbabwe?
Indeed, there are many South African companies. In fact, there are many South African politicians that are involved in mining in Zimbabwe.
And there it is, the first clue. Many politicians from South Africa are involved in mining in Zimbabwe. Did you know that? I thought that was a very interesting thing to hear. And I said to myself, there it is. There is the answer why they haven't been so vocal. your MPs that you're voting for, your politicians have shares in mines in Zimbabwe. Do you now understand the gravity of their silence? Wow, this was shocking to me. Like, absolutely shocking. Now, the question becomes, where is the source of funds coming from? Because, to be part of mining is not child's play. It's not peanut butter money, okay? It's not child's play. Ask the tenderpreneur Gulugutus. They will tell you it's millions upon millions and billions. No wonder there's all this lootation going. Now you understand where all the money is going. Well, at least some of it. But there is more clues that were dropped in this interview. Make sure you go to Mighty Jamie's channel and catch the full interview. I just wanted to talk about this element because, wow, now it explains why the politicians are not so vocal about the March in March. Here goes.
One of the biggest, if not the biggest mining company in Zimbabwe is South African Zimplats, which is owned by Implats. And the late Vice President, David Mabuza, the late Vice President of South Africa, his family owns mines in the same province with where President Mnangagwa comes from, in the Mberewa Shavane region. And that family has donated heavily to ZANU-PF.
David Mabuza, late Vice President of South Africa. His family has mines upon mines, or should I say shares, in Zimbabwe. I shouldn't be laughing. This is quite heartbreaking. While March and March is going on the streets, while March and March is personally cleaning up South Africa, while March and March is taking charge of illegal immigration, high-profile families are just going about their merry way in businesses outside of South Africa, increasing their portfolios. Where are the jobs for the... Let me ask you this. Are South Africans being employed in those mines? Or wait for it, are Zimbabweans being employed in South African-owned mines? Woo! Let me let that sink in for one quick second. This is bigger than we thought. And Mabuza is not a name that hasn't been mentioned at the Madlanga Commission. I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's continue listening on.
And talking about donations, the South African state, or rather South Africa, is going into local government elections, and we know that the two parties help each other financially as and when is needed. And I'm now assuming, this is not factual, that maybe that could have been one of the things that were on the table, and it explains why there were businessmen present at the meeting.
Let's recap, okay? Or should I say the red herring that Mighty Jamie likes to point out. The president leaves South Africa, doesn't mention it. Then when photos start circulating on Twitter, it is called a private meeting in Zimbabwe. The vice presidents of Zimbabwe are not included. No ministers, no tourism ministers are there either side of the spectrum, except two businessmen. And then we find out that wait a damn minute. There are donations that cross between Zimbabwe and ANC. And then you wonder why your politicians are quiet as you take to the streets and march to clean up the streets, which the politicians should be championing and being front and center of that. But they can't. Of course they can't. They've got businesses across the border, and this is just one country. Imagine what we could discover if the same kind of show was done for Mozambique, for Malawi, Nigeria, Ghana. I don't know which other country I should mention. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. So far, this is crazy to me. This is mind-boggling.
Because it is a well-known secret that ZANU-PF and ANC, they see each other as sister parties and they support each other. In fact, the Treasurer General of the African National Party, African National Congress, which is the main ruling party in South Africa, was recently in Harare and met with President Mnangagwa at State House. So that could have been one of the reasons why the two businessmen were there. Because on the other hand, if you go to South Africa, you find that the Secretary General of the African National Congress, which is led by President Ramaphosa, goes on social media and he says, "Viva President Mnangagwa, viva ZANU-PF." So they don't hide those umbilical ties between the two parties.
Did you hear that? There's an umbilical cord between ANC and ZANU-PF of Zimbabwe. But there's much and much saying, "Kabahambe," right? Illegal immigrants from Zimbabwe, they must go back. And I'm not focusing just on Zimbabwe. I'm just speaking to Zimbabwe. But of course, illegal immigration, everything applies. But now, do you understand? Do you understand the silence from the leader of the state, from top politicians and top businessmen? They have interests in those countries. They can't be seen championing these marches. They can't. It can't be that they've been missing. But now we know the reason why. Shout out to Mighty Jamie. This was an eye-opener. Let me tell you that. Well, if I was a leader in March and I now have this information, then you target where it hurts the most. You target the finances. You target the money. You target the voting out. That's what you do. Because clearly, whether they're in or out, they have already created their business interests outside the country. And that's why they cannot, I don't want to say empathize. They just don't understand what the issue is with illegal immigrants, because they are thriving off of the backs of unemployed South Africans who go to the polls and vote them in so that they can create companies in other African countries. Wow, this is crazy to me.
Led by President Mnangagwa and one led by Vice President Chiwenga. And that can be good for democracy. And I think the people that need to worry the most are South Africans, because each time there is something like this, there is a massive influx of Zimbabweans who go into South Africa, both legally and illegally, but mostly illegally. And this is when we have to come back again to the relationship that exists between ZANU-PF and the ANC. The ANC pampers the abuse of power in Zimbabwe, probably because of kickbacks, probably because ZANU-PF helps them with their elections financially. But it has a massive problem, which is no longer a foreign issue problem. It's a domestic issue problem, because citizens go to South Africa not because they want to, but because they're forced by circumstances. And when you go into townships, you see that there are flashpoints where locals and foreign nationals start fighting for resources, things that you do not see in affluent suburbs. So I think the ANC has to reflect on what it wants in South Africa, whether it wants a South Africa where there isn't a illegal immigrant problem, or it wants a South Africa where there's an illegal immigrant problem, but the ruling party gets helped by ZANU-PF in one way or the other. But the problem is it's bleeding votes. It's losing votes partly because of that, but not enough to say that illegal immigration can get someone into power. If you look at the numbers, it doesn't. But still, responsible governments are supposed to look at those things and make sure that the SADC protocols for elections and the rule of law, judiciaries and things like that are taken care of and are adhered to make sure that there is peace within the region. It's important for South Africa to know that a Zimbabwe that works, where Zimbabweans are in Zimbabwe and working for their country, is actually the best case scenario for South Africa, because you take away all these other problems and you create two countries which trade with each other and trade with each other meaningfully.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Chinono. I think we've covered a lot of ground. Hopefully, we can have you back if ever there are any developments.
You heard it for yourself. ANC. That's all I'm going to say. ANC. And then a president who gets on a plane, arrives in Zimbabwe, and calls it a private meeting. The same president with the Pala Pala. Are we not getting a Pala Pala report this week? That what since this flight was not declared and known to the members of the public, how do you know what he carried with him into Zimbabwe? Oh, I can't believe I just said that out loud. Think about it. And they're saying it was a private meeting. Remember Ramaphosa'S? The money stashed in this. Oh my goodness. The tours to the farms, the cows, the cattle that they both love. This is such an eye-opener. Disguised as an interview, Jamie. I see what you did, Jamie. I see what you did. But let me know if you agree with some of the points that I raised, or if you disagree, let me know as well in the comment section. Or if you had a different aha moment, let me know as well in the comment section. I'm not saying March and March is a waste of time. I am saying look at the top. Look at the top and how they are reacting or moving in silence as March and March is happening. That's all I'm going to say. Let me end this video. Let's listen to Julius Malema, his final words, and let me know if you agree with him. Let me know if you agree with him. Is he speaking sense, or is he creating more of a mess? Here goes.
Must be dealt with according to the laws of South Africa. Not mob justice. Le na le west, ba northwest. Le tshwana le rena ko Limpopo. Ha ba qeta ka ma Zimbabwe. You must know we are next. Because Bob which is on taking as Zulu ye. Just talk about hack. So you must stop it before it comes to you. Remember, Raba Limpopo were even too dark. They are just going to look at us and say, well, now we don't even have to ask you anything. I coupe. Before it comes to us, let's stop it there and say, let's deal with illegal immigration through the laws of this country. The Minister of Home Affairs is a DA minister, but they never match to the Minister of Home Affairs, who is responsible for illegal immigrants. Why? They are scared of white people. Look at them. When they speak to a white person, they are very respectful. They show manners. When they speak to a black person, they are violent. When is that march going to Cape Town? Because a lot of illegal immigrants, white immigrants, are in Cape Town.